What is going on, everybody? We are back. Welcome to Mic'd Up with AJ and TJ. I am AJ, and of course, I'm with the face that runs the place. What's going on, TJ? How are you?
What's going on, everybody? I'm doing good, AJ. People, we are back for another episode of Mic'd Up, brought to you by On My Feet. So please make sure you guys check out that app wherever you shop for all of your apps, whether it's the iOS store or the Play Store. And today, we're going to keep things a little bit lighter, but we're still going to focus on sneaker culture. So last week we talked about, the fact that violence and fights and different things are still occurring when it comes to sneaker releases. And that's something that absolutely needs to change. And it's been around for far too long. We kind of gave you, what we would do to maybe kind of circumvent that if we ran like a sneaker store on our own. But this week we're going to talk about real quick just a few terms that we could do without. We get it. Cultures evolve with time, all things change, but there are still some terms that are very prevalent right now that we could do without. And listen, those two terms are bricks and poor man's, okay?
Yeah. And believe it or not, a lot of the poor man's this and poor man's that tends to look better than the actual shoe. And we're going to get into a few examples as well. And the bricks. Nothing's ever a brick.
On the bricks first, because the
Yeah.
bricks isn't necessarily something that you guys need to see like in hand or anything like that, right? Like when we're talking about the poor man's, make sure you're actually watching this, because we'll show some shoes for you guys. But for bricks, first off, when it comes to a brick, we get it. If you're not aware, it has to do with basketball culture, right? You miss a shot, you brick on the actual rim. That's where the term comes from, and of course associated with basketball for sneakers. But when you say a brick in terms of a sneaker releasing now, we're not talking about a shot missed. We're talking about people feel like, oh, the brand missed because the shoe didn't instantly sell out. Like, remember that a brick is now a shoe that is not sold out within the hour. Like, the hour, people are calling it bricks. And I'm not gonna lie, sneaker YouTubers perpetuate this to no, and they will go in the first hour that a shoe releases, and they're in the mall, their local mall or store, and they're like, oh my god, a shoe is still here, it has to be a brick. And it's like, or people also have reservations,
So who is it? See, that's where I don't understand. Is it a brick because resellers can't make money off of it? Why does it matter if it's a brick?
why I feel a shoe is considered a brick now. Like,
Yeah.
when you have kids that are as young as 13, 14 coming in the store and they see a shoe on the wall and they consider it a brick, it's because they've gone to StockX on their phone and it's not flipping for a whole lot. Right? So you kind of have two notions of a brick. You have the brick that people just consider sitting because a shoe doesn't sell out immediately, honestly, within the hour of release. So if it releases at 10 Eastern, it's not sold out by 11. So it's considered a brick and it's just sitting, and who cares about it? But if you're looking at it from even that perspective, they're deriving that from, oh my God, like I could make money, right? The
Yeah.
only reason you think a shoe is sitting these days is because there isn't a profit to be made on StockX or GOAT or wherever you choose to resell shoes. So the brick term just has to go, because for a lot of people, I know this is weird, some of us still wear our shoes. We don't care if a shoe is a brick or not. I don't care.
It's actually better for us because we actually get to buy the shoe. Like if it's a brick, that's fine. Hey, I hope there's more shoes that are bricks.
Buy the shoe. Like, it's always my thing of, unless you have true ownership in the brand. And I don't mean like you own a few shares on Robinhood. I mean like you own a true percentage where you have to actually designate that. You have to notify, let's say, a brokerage firm of that when you go to open an account, because that's a real thing. If you go to open certain accounts, they will ask you, do you hold more than 10% of stock or ownership in a certain company? And you have to disclose that. That's real ownership in a company. So if you don't have that in Jordan, Nike, Adidas, why does it matter if the shoe is sitting? If you don't have any intention of reselling, right? And everybody,
Yeah.
they treat the whole term reseller kind of like a plague, or you're a leper. So now it's like, no, 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 I don't resell. So if you don't resell, then why do you care if a shoe sits?
So yeah, I think that's another term where it says people are bricks because they feel like if they're bricks, oh, if I'm wearing it, I'm not wearing the latest and greatest. I mean, who gives a You know, who cares?
Well, the lady wearing what? When have you really seen people wear shoes?
Not never.
In the last year, where are they wearing it? Where are they going? Like
I
that.
mean, or you'll see on feet, kind of like, but never on the road. It's always on the carpet. Again, it's not knocking anybody, but I'm just saying, like, I mean, it, people, you need to wear your sneakers. Simple as that,
Right.
right? People wear your sneakers. So the whole thing with the brick or poor man's, who cares? Because it might be a brick to you, but it might be a gem to me. I
And
mean,
be a brick. How many shoes now have we seen that we quote unquote thought were bricks? Let time pass, and now they're that you can get 300-400%.
there's so many of them. There's Jordan lows, there's Jordan mids.
The Last Dance made a lot of perceived Jordan, OGs that came out. People may not have wanted them then, but they want them now because they saw that
Exactly.
documentary.
Yeah. So, and literally every Jordan from lows to highs to OG colors to non OG colors have all skyrocketed because of The Last Dance.
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
And even if not from the dance, it's like, think about it. All of the shoes don't have a storyline. Like, don't get me wrong, Jordan Brand is great at telling stories, and so is Nike, but every shoe doesn't always have a story behind it, right? Like,
No.
a lot of us just like the court purple, and we like that colorway on a lot of shoes, especially the color blocking on any Jordan 1, but those sell out. Like, those are insane to get. I still want the lows. I just don't want to pay the price right now.
Yeah. Or even like, for example, what dropped the Starfish 13s. There was nothing, there was no storyline behind it. It was just like they wanted to try because they realized the black and orange hits
Does
on ones.
yeah.
But I mean, I don't think it did do well on the 13s. I don't know if it did, but
I mean, a lot of people were calling around checking stores for them, but I've already seen people getting rid of them. Like,
yeah,
picked them up, and now they realize it's not a shoe they're really going to wear. They got it to get their hands on it, and I understand, right? A lot of people are just going for any and everything because you take so many L's.
yeah,
You just want to get AW. You don't care if you don't love the shoe, if you're not in love with it, but I guess for me, there are still, even though I take as many L's, right? This is the comical part. I'm wearing a sneakers, wearing a sneakers sweatshirt right now. If you guys can see it. And listen, I haven't hit on sneakers in so unbelievably long, but
yeah, same.
even though I take L's on there too, I still don't go for every shoe if I don't like it. So when it comes to something being, listen, a brick, I just feel like we as a culture have to get past that, because if we don't, we are just kind of designating these shoes as, we're writing them off, but for what reason? Like, there's no love
Yeah,
behind it. If everyone claims that they're in this because they just love kicks and they have a passion for everything that goes into it, and if you have a issue with the shoe sitting, then that's not really where your passion lies then.
yeah. And you know what? It's crazy. And I know for a fact, like Jordan Brand, Nike, Adidas, all these companies are watching and seeing what the consumer is saying. And I'm gonna go back to let's go back to the Cool Gray Fours when the Cool Gray Fours dropped, right? Everybody said, bring back the Cool Gray Fours, blah, 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 blah. All like the biggest hype in the world. That shoe was sitting at outlets.
It's
Now,
a lot of places.
I like the shoe. People didn't, for some reason, didn't like it because it didn't have the Nike Air on it. Who cares? The ones when the Cool Grays came out, they didn't have Nike Air on it. It was a Jumpman. Get over it, people. Nike Air or Jumpman, it's the same damn shoe.
You
Now,
can't
if it,
stuff.
I mean, it's the same company. It doesn't really matter. Like, I mean, so, and then you really think that Jordan Brand is like, everybody's like for a few years, like Cool Gray, Cool Gray, Cool Gray. And now most of the shoes had to be RTV'd because no store was selling them.
No.
And then they're like, oh, then people are like, oh, the companies don't listen to us. No, they listen to you. But when they do put out what you want, you guys are still ungrateful. And, for them, then it has to go to outlets.
To keep that in mind. So where does that lead, right? The whole ungrateful thing. So if a brand listens to you, they're like, all right, we'll bring some stuff out of the vault. They retro it again. They bring it out for you. You don't show it any love or respect. So you know what they're going to do next time. Why even put out as much stock as we did before? You guys didn't.
Exactly.
We can put less stock. Let's see how it goes then.
And for them, they're saving money on production.
They're saving money on production. The shoe is now going to, just because of the climate we're in, the shoe is going to sell out. So
Yeah.
congratulations, you now created like a win-win for the company. You
Yeah.
didn't create a win-win for yourself though, because now you're going to have to fight even harder to be able to get the shoe if it is one that you want. So, be careful what you wish for.
And
Like, you
even,
always beg for things to come back out, and I think they have to keep in
yeah.
mind too that brands have to cater to all types of current consumers, right? So you have those that are super into the nostalgia and the history, and it means something, right? Like you can tell someone the story of when you first had the shoe. Well, the younger generation may not be that way, right?
Mm.
For them, again, we say this all the time, they didn't see MJ play up until the last dance came out, but they've grown up with Kyrie and LeBron and
Yeah.
KD and Steph, and they've grown up with these icons in front of them. So those shoes mean something, maybe to them. I'll just still say that maybe, right? Because I don't think anyone has still crossed over into the on-court shoe being the lifestyle primary choice for.
But for them, it's not even if they like them anymore. It's if they can make money out of it.
Yeah, it's
I'm
not about
telling you.
like how many pairs do people like. I always find this hilarious that people will post pictures and I'm like, every picture, especially for every Jordan one you posted, it's dead stock. It's not laced yet. But you were
Yeah.
just dying to have it, or you were super frustrated you didn't have it. And I'm just like, okay. And I know you have well over like 300 shoes. So when is the shoe even being worn?
I
Like,
mean, I understand it's like the whole
almost had, was it worth it?
yeah, and everybody's like, "Yo, it's a pandemic. We can't go nowhere." I mean, you can put on some shoes to go. Just put them on.
And
Like,
listen, I'm not mad about people, right? Like, I'm a little bit different in that I'm making content on a consistent basis. So there may be a reason I will put on certain clothes, outfits, for just the content, right? It may not be something I throw on to run to the store wherever I need to go. I totally get people not wanting to do that. You may want to have a purpose to undead stock, to DS unds a shoe. Like for my birthday, I unds the 2018 Carmines. I felt like that was the perfect time to go ahead and break those out. But I just see like that the heartache and the headaches about getting the shoe that people have zero intention of wearing the shoe
yeah,
anytime soon.
yeah. I mean, and that's another thing. Like when people are like, "Oh, I can't wait for these." What? So you just put them up and
You
not
can,
wear them?
you can admire them.
But see, then those are the same people that's like, "Oh, these are bricks." Nah, bro. Yeah, they might be bricks, but I'll take them from you if you think they're bricks. What? Just because you're not? I mean,
Listen, the shoes that I a lot these days are not even the retros because I'm so realistic. It's not that I'm ever like a pessimistic person. I'm just realistic. I understand the climate of what's going on and what's happening right now. So the fact of the matter is, so many shoes are difficult to get, right? So I'll try for certain things. I'm restricted on certain apps I can and can't try on. So I'll try on sneakers. I'll try to cop shoes via Finish Line in different places, and if that doesn't happen, I'll move on just because it's not worth the headache. So
mm,
I'll move on and go focus on something else. Guess what? That people aren't, falling over each other over, that I can source from different places. And I'll still be happy with it, even if it's not that hot shoe. I think that's always interesting that people get so frustrated over not being able to get whatever the latest shoe is. But if you ask them about shoes that are still on their wish list, it's not all new shoes. It's
mhm.
shoes from the past. So I'm just thinking, like, for all the L's you've taken in the last month, which is possibly like four, so all of that money probably totals, I don't know, $400 or $500 at this point minimum.
Yeah.
Why not just go back on for one of those pairs that's on your wish list? You have the money sitting there because you damn sure didn't pay for the actual shoe.
eBay, use eBay, guys. I'm trying to tell you. Look, first thing everybody goes is straight to StockX. So I don't have a problem with them or go wherever, Grails, whatever. eBay, sometimes, yes, I understand sometimes it does take a longer to get here, but you are getting steals. You will find old sneakers
Yeah.
that StockX won't really let you put up. I mean, or if you put it on Go, you're paying like 5, 6 times more than what they're worth. Like in the last few days, I've bought 2 or 3 pairs on eBay for way under retail,
You
even
can
under retail.
always find gems. There's That's just my thing. Like for people that are missing out on shoes, think about that list you always claim that you have of all these
Yeah.
pairs that you really wish that you still had in your collection today. Everything that you get doesn't have to be from that release, that calendar release year. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be. I think we're
Yeah.
just stuck in that like, no, it has to be this shoe that came out this year. And it's like, why? Is it
Even when I
special because it didn't come out in
nah,
2021?
because even when I did
Good. Brands are doing good.
yeah.
There were shoes in the past that were better.
Yeah, because even when I did my 2020 pickup, I mean, there was a few shoes that from not from 2020. They're from like 2018, 2016. It's just what I bought in 2020. Like a lot of those people, like they're like, "Oh, that wasn't a 2020 pickup." I'm like, "No, this is what I bought." And
I didn't say the release day for the
yeah,
shoe red
yeah.
2020.
And a lot of even if you look at the 2020 shoes, they have like 2019 tags on them. So
Yeah, they said they were literally sitting there. Yeah.
yeah, so they're sitting.
They were just like, hey
There
guys,
were bricks at the outlet.
they were they were caught across the water due to literally nothing going in and out of regions and countries. So that's
Uh,
control. Just like me taking L's, a lot of that is out of my control. So I'll just go back, save myself the headache, go get other shoes. You have options to be able to get, and that leads us to the other thing, right? So poor man's. I don't know who came up with this. It was either someone who didn't really understand like
someone
economics
hella salty.
or hella salty, exactly. Because it's funny because I remember Chris, or AKA if you guys know Wear Testers or Nightwing, he was saying, like people were calling things poor man's, and he's like, if a shoe costs $200, I don't really think you're poor, and you're picking that shoe up, and I'm like, that is the point I've always tried to make. Like,
Yeah.
poor man's. Listen, sneakers is not a poor man's game. I'm not saying there aren't people here that are literally barely hanging on financially, because you have some of those. They will stunt and front for clout until
Mhm.
they are at the very end of their rope in terms of being able to take care of business, pay bills, different things like that, right? Like they could possibly have a car almost repoed, because they're trying to just make sure they have the newest shoes to impress grown men who don't care about them. But for a majority of us, that's not the case. And so if you're shelling out 200 here, 200 here, that's not a poor man's anything,
No.
right? The true poor people living below poverty, living below the poverty line, are not dropping $200 on a retro they're not even going to wear for a year. So let's think about that. So many shoes come out, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they didn't grab some inspiration from a very coveted, highly hyped up shoe. That is fine, but let the shoe stand on its own.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about basketball players and other athletes. Yes, like LeBron and Kobe and all of these players at some point were inspired by Michael Jordan. Stop always comparing them though, and let them stand on their own merit of the player they are versus who they may have been inspired by. I don't
Yeah.
care if a shoe was inspired by something, let it stand on its own as that shoe, because you know what that also is? It's access still for people to have a shoe.
Yeah. And going back to the whole poor man's, look, if you can afford to buy a shoe, buy it. Doesn't matter where what you want, right?
Yep.
That's what I always say. It doesn't matter what I like, what TJ likes, what a few of our colleagues in the game like. Who cares? If you want to buy Skechers, buy Skechers. If you want to buy Reeboks, buy Reeboks. If you want to buy Adidas, don't buy Adidas. Buy it. It doesn't really matter, man. At the end of the day, you're gonna wear what you like. Now, if you're one of those, hey, you could like look. Sometimes when people don't wear their sneakers, I understand, right? Like art, it's your thing. Like if you're not, you're like, hey, I'm not really into the sneakers, but I like collecting them. That could be a way to go to. Like you're
Yeah.
not a reseller, you just enjoy the culture, right? And I'm gonna be the reason you don't guys don't see anything behind me because I'm in a new place, so it feels weird. But a lot of my sneakers that I have that you will see in my new place are gonna be, oh geez, I can't wear those because I'll wear them and they'll
They'll crumble.
explode, they'll crumble. So it'll be like a wall of art. It's sneaker art, so stuff like that. But TJ, so what we're gonna do is before we like head out, the whole poor man's thing, I want to show two, and or do you want to we can kind of show like our poor man's version of whatever we're gonna do. And
Yeah, we'll do that. And guys, listen, some of these again are not hype whatsoever, but
well,
you
now they are after the market went up. But
you may hear people reference like, oh, that shoe reminds me of this, and I think that's perfectly fine, right? I'll never forget, like, funny side story, I'll never forget, somebody commented on one of my YouTube videos. They were like, man, she's like the poor man's Candace Parker. And all I could do was laugh. I'm like, first off, Candace Parker is fly in every way and is an amazing basketball player.
They
So
getting compared to Candace Parker.
to me in any way. I'm like,
That's
that's an insult. That woman is beautiful. She's talented, entrepreneur. Are you kidding me? Yeah, whatever. Listen, be a poor man's Candace Parker. Can other people at least say that that's who they would be compared to? Probably not. So I will absolutely take that. Listen,
there we go. Another Halloween costume. Maybe another Halloween inspiration costume. There we go.
that would be funny. Or I'll do, you know what? I'll do that. Or I just picked up off eBay. I just picked up a U.S. women's national team player, Mallory Pugh. I actually just picked up her jersey, and it's interesting. So this is another reason why I say go on eBay. If you look where the seller is located, because you can usually see the person's state. The person was located in Oregon, so it was actually a former Nike employee. So at the store, at the employee store, they'll have like samples that go there before the real thing or the real kit
Yeah.
out. So that's what this is. This was actually a sample that was made for like the men's testing, but it's for it was Mallory's, like
So
name, number.
any seller that's from like from Oregon and especially if you see Beaverton, buy from them because most likely you'll
Look at their whole store, save them as a seller.
yeah.
Because when I had that custom Nike denim jacket done,
Mhm.
so the patches that I bought them from, it was actually from a former Nike employee who used to work in kind of like the tags and
Yeah.
I think a specific athletics department.
Yeah.
And so he just had boxes on boxes on boxes of tags still.
Yeah, no, good thing is, I mean, I was looking at some,
Jerseys.
no, because I looked at some sellers and one was from Beaverton and I forgot what shoe they were, but it's a sample. It's a sample of a shoe, even though the shoe came out. And I have the release pair and the sample pair that I bought for him for like $80.
Yeah,
Quality,
so much. They're paying
quality, yeah.
anyway. It's already discounted. They
Yeah.
get the employee discount. And then if it's stuff that they don't need anymore, they just go ahead and they sell it. And
Yeah.
it's a come up for you. Because
Yeah.
listen, they'll get like, there are tech items like tech jackets and different clothing lines for that'll release.
Mhm.
But maybe even if it doesn't do well, or maybe it's just like a limited release they come out with, and then they'll just stick it in the outlet, they'll stick it in the
Yeah.
employee store there. You can come up on that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's how I got so many like M65 Nike tech jackets that you guys will see me style a lot. So again, eBay, do not sleep on it. But all right, we'll go over what I'm sure some people would call poor man's kick. So if you guys remember Virgil and all of his off-white, hype, and that's still that reign is still going on. So if you remember, he took the blazer and he did two different, colorways for the Grim Reaper and then Hallow's Eve. So I really wanted Hallow's Eve. That wasn't possible, right? So this I actually picked up, I think from Sneaker Hub last year. It was in the middle of lockdown, I think in the spring or summer. So it's a women's blazer. It's a light bone in a total orange colorway, and it's even got
Fire.
the foam tongue. Oh, look at that, Soul Trees.
Shout out Soul Trees.
So you have this. So it looks so close to the actual Hallow's Eve. And of course, this was like $100 or $110 because blazers are not expensive. They don't break the bank. But I remember people saying like, "Oh, that looks just like Hallow's Eve." And you know what? Yes, it's similar, but I would never think of it as poor man's.
No.
I loved Hallow's Eve because it was the colorway that I loved, and I do like the exaggerated swoosh that's on there. But this was an awesome alternative. It was easy to buy, and you have options. So yeah, I'm pretty sure somebody would call this like a poor man's.
That colorway is fire. I'm not gonna lie, it looks better than the Hallow's Eve.
You think so?
and it's got the tongue and everything, so it's pretty much just so. All right, so my sneaker is a low top Jordan 1.
Okay.
And now, of course, you've seen the low top Jordan 1s skyrocket. Of course, now when I started,
for a pair that I want.
so I got the so-called poor man's
Okay.
shattered backboard lows.
I have that one too.
This shoe is such a sleeper. Well, not anymore, but oh, man, I mean, it doesn't have the.
I was one of the people that I didn't originally pick it up. To my defense, I didn't originally pick it up because it wasn't even in my local area at first when it came out. I picked it up when I was on the road somewhere, and I'm so glad that I did.
Yeah, and these came out with 2019, but man, like that high tongue, the way it sits, like. But now, like, you can't find this for under what, two something?
No, I think it's higher than
Higher
that.
than I paid $90 for this.
I think it's because I paid. Ooh, I even got my discount. Yeah.
Yeah, I paid $90 for it. And then, do you have another pair, or do you want me to show the other pair?
Another. So I apologize if you're watching this. Don't ask me why. I think it has to do with the lighting that it doesn't always show certain colors correctly or accurately, right? But so many people wanted to call this the poor man's fragment. Okay. So this released in 2020, one of the best Jordan 1s, in my opinion, to
Mhm.
release. And that is the Jordan 1 Royal Toe. And shout out to Soul Play ATL because they were able to help me, secure this pair. So I bought my pair through them, through a raffle they had. But just super clean shoe, right? This color blocking that we're used to with like the bread toe one. So you have a Royal Toe one, and yeah, the fragment
Fire.
is very similar to this. It's one of right this still I think like a number one on people's list that they want to have, and we see it all the time, right? If you guys ever see Cousteau, he'll always post the fragment, and I'm just like, yeah, I want those. Probably never happening, but again, people wouldn't just let this shoe stand on its own for just what it was, just a really good looking color block Jordan 1. So never am I going to say, oh my god, I have a poor man's fragment 1. No, I have a
No.
toe that looks and goes with a lot of
I
different.
mean, it's a such a nice shoe. The color, like you said, color blocking is on point.
And listen, they did this justice. Now, some people didn't like the fact that the Wings logo is white. I like it because it stands
Yeah,
out. Some
it
people
pops out.
are a fan of the leather tag for the Nike Air. They just wanted to go back to the regular cloth. Listen, Jordan Brand, if you're listening, don't know if you are. I'm a fan of these things. Okay, I don't have an issue with the.
When they give you quality, you complain, and then when they don't give you quality, they complain. It's
Listen,
just
get it. Okay, like you. I know you feel there's no pleasing people. I get it. I understand.
mm. Well, my second one is sticking with shattered backboard, and this is another Foot Locker pickup. It's the reverse shattered backboard mids that they were calling them, with the and I'm not gonna lie, another really really good mid. Like the leather is, I mean, of course, again, it's not shattered backboard, but this is a nice looking shoe.
It's
People,
interesting that probably qualifies as like a poor man's times two because it's also a mid, right? So for so many people,
and I got blue laces.
it's Jordan ones.
I got my blue laces, guys. I mean, it's not the blue laces that TJ has, but they're blue laces.
Starting trouble. Listen,
Hey, hey, no, people will get over it. People will get over it. You got a problem? Come talk to me. People will get over it. I'm sick and tired. Oh my God. That's going to be a whole nother episode, TJ. We're going to do
countdown to his blown up DMs in 5, 4, 3, 2.
it's cool with me. Hey, this helping my algorithm. So if you guys have issues, send it over. But back to what I was saying. It's a really, I haven't worn these yet, but I just feel like this is a nice color because it's got like, I don't know if you could tell, but it's like a peach, like a peach.
It's still in that same, I feel like, orange family.
Oh,
It's
actually, no.
deeper than the bone that
This is that bone color. The peach is on the outside. So I didn't realize they're two different colors.
it's actually a tricolor. Like,
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, there we go. There's the peach. I think in the camera it looks very similar, but
no, you can tell slightly. You can
oh
tell
yeah, right here.
the toe. The toe does have like that little more yellowish tone of a bone colorway.
Yeah. And then of course the black. I mean, it's a cool shoe. I mean, I'll wear it. I've been wearing mids and lows since the early 2000s. So for me, it's just like,
Yeah, we got to get past the poor man's, and for me also, again, like others may never read that deep into it, but understand whether we like it or not, kids are always paying attention to everything we
mhm.
do and everything we say, right? And that's how they form context for anything. So for you to say like poor man something and it's clearly $200, right? So let's just say, to be honest with you, that kid takes that to something else where a fellow student or something, they're buying great value, whatever. And it's not the brand name of whatever is in the store. Do we really want somebody going around judging because somebody chooses to buy one form of something over another or one
No.
brand over another? No. Like, quite honestly, but I can see some parent having to have that conversation after you want to go around ridiculously saying, "Oh, poor man's this and poor man's that." Like, listen, let's just stop. Let's just.
So
It's a poor man's nothing in today's world because the minimum shoe is always what, at least $100,
yeah.
and then those are still the most difficult shoes to get your hand on. So a dunk may be $100. You know that you're probably not going to be the first buyer of the shoe. You're going to be the second or the third buyer of the shoe, and you're going to have to buy it resale, which means you're paying $200, $300 for a shoe these days. So it's not poor man's anything.
Yeah.
Get it out of your head. Let things exist for what they exist for, and stop caring unless you hold 10% stake in Nike or Jordan or Adidas or Reebok or Puma or anything if a shoe is still sitting there after release day.
So a lot of people don't understand, and the poor man's shoe will wind up making you more money than the high ticket shoes.
Yeah, absolutely.
GRs will make you more return than. It's easier to sell a cheaper shoe than it is to.
Nike the biggest return every year. It's not a Jordan.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's either a Monarch, it's a Tangent. One year it was, I think, like the 270 may have been like the top selling shoe when it came out, but they're shoes with zero hype sometimes that provide the biggest return. That's a common thing for resellers too. There are some resellers, they don't even focus on super hyped up shoes. They'll just go for the GRs, but they know that that clientele will be there. They'll be able to pay for the markup of it, especially if it's a lower end. I mean, a lower buy-in. If we're not even talking about, I guess, a Jordan 1 for men, we're gonna have to talk about, it's still the what, 190. Do you guys shoes that are you don't even get a gap between them, right? It goes straight from 170 to 190, right?
And some of them are 200, and I think we've had one that's
special. Yeah, so when we're looking at, I could see them doing like a 225 for the Lightning 4. I could see them doing they're probably for sure going to do, I could see them doing 225 for the Cool Gray 11. I hope
so. Eventually, these shoes are going to keep going up. I know me and Unbreakable Kicks last 2 years ago, we had a whole video series, and we said it.
All the shoes going up.
And if you guys could go back, I think it's on Unbreakable's channel, or I forgot. I think it was, or it's on my channel. I don't know. It's one of ours, or it's on our IG. We were talking about how the price back then was like 140, 160 or something like that, or 150 on the ones. And we're like, give it a year, it's going to go up to one or something like that. And everybody's like, no. I'm like, watch. And the Jordan 1s have touched 200. I would not be surprised if they start hitting 220, I say, within the next year.
Yeah, anytime a Jordan 1 is special in any way, they automatically tack on the 190 price point.
Yeah.
Right? They like for the off-whites. And even if it's a shoe where maybe it wasn't normally touching that price point, they still jacked it up to 190. I think just to keep it consistent across the board. So I distinctly remember that because you guys were saying like, all right, when that time comes and we're like, listen, we told you it would go up.
Yeah.
But I thought also, okay, but people don't act as if you're not going to pay the extra $10 because you will. But then because you paid the extra 10, they're like, all right, jack it up another 10. And now we see 170, right? Because it used to be 120 for grade school Jordan 1s. Like it used to be 120. Now it's at 130, and every other retro is 140. And then if you're looking at women's pairs, which they don't always, when they say full family size run, guys, understand very few of those releases put in a women's in between men's and grade school. Like the Jubilee 11 was one of the first that did that.
Yeah, it was expensive.
It was a women's sizing, but like from what I'm told, the women's and the men's was no different.
They were like 180 for kid sizes. Ridiculous.
Kids, that's automatic. So kids automatically has jumped up to like the 170, the 180. I think it is 180 now. It's automatically just jumped up to that. But like a women's 11 is the same price as the men's was. So they were both 200. There was no differentiation there. So the prices will continue to go up. Now that is basic inflation. That just happens. But I think it's going to happen faster than what any of us would like it to.
I mean, it's even happening at for example, like Foot Locker. Like when you go buy Jordan 1 lows, if it's a Jordan 1 low SE, it is $100 or 110.
110.
110. If it's a normal Jordan 1 low, it's either 90 or it's 100. So it's like, and sometimes the ones that are not SEs look better than the ones that are SEs, and you're paying more. So I believe this one was 100 or 110, something like that. Whatever the
It might have been a basic price.
yeah. So, but
Listen, guys, change is going to continue to come. It's a landscape that a lot of us are unhappy with. I'll openly say that. But I think you have to pick and choose what frustrations you're going to let really sit with you, right? Some of them you're not going to be able to change, and then some of them you can. So when it comes to like the women's releases, right? I will say this: it's nice to know that you have enough people within Jordan or Nike or all the other brands that are still holding the focus groups. They're having the conversations in a multitude of ways to hear what women actually want as consumers, just as individuals into kicks. And then even though that will be very similar to men, there are always going to be differences between us, and they are listening to that. And so I think they'll move in the right direction, right? So the kind of kicks that we're receiving from women, that's starting to change now. Us always having access, that's a different fight for a different day.
and with that being said, thank you again. You know, TJ holding down the show again. Me looking weird with no background.
God
You know,
hates that everything.
I hate it. It feels so weird. So weird. Like it's just like so much going on right now. But guys, trust me, we will do once everything is set up, we'll do a different kind of podcast. We're gonna tour my sneaker room.
You guys are going to see like bits and pieces of every part, every part of his room down there.
So this sneaker room is probably the biggest sneaker room I've ever had. It's 1,000 square feet.
Topping Clint Frazier's?
Huh?
Because he's got the whole basement too.
Well, I got 1,000 square feet. I don't know how much he has.
I'm pretty sure it was probably said in the video that another YouTuber, Blake Yarroad, posted. It might have been said, but I'm not sure. But
I mean, that dude's also a multimillionaire.
I just remember when you see like all the shoes and you go down the basement, that's kind of similar to what yours reminds me of. So
I'll give you a little sneak peek of the one of my walls. It's just a little. Oh, whoa! That's all you get. That's all you get. So
we saw him flexing all his little costs.
I mean, it's a little something. You know, I got the Soul Premise bags over there, but you know, we soon it's gonna be a little process. I mean, you might see a blank wall for a little bit, but trust me, guys. This sneaker room is going to be insane, and you will see it first on the OMF network. Guys, I'm telling you, wait for season 2 of Kicking It. You thought season 1 had information. Season 2, I'm taking it a whole another level. And yeah, but
makes us all feel bad that we don't have all his shoes.
No, it's not just me.
Oh, that's right. He's gonna take
There's gonna be a lot of people on it. So, but you know, other than that, make sure you guys download the OMF app, On My Feet app, on the Android and Apple Marketplace. It's a place for sneakerheads, non-judgmentals. Everything that we talk about here, you guys could go talk about in there. And I'm going to be talking about the app some more. March 7th, I will be at Sneaker Travelers. Of course, I'm hosting again. And hey, this time I got my homie Conceited from Wild Out, Mr. Cut the Beat. He's going to be there hosting with me. And yeah, other than that, TJ, you want to take us out?
Listen, guys, you can always find me on YouTube at Talks with TJ or on Instagram at talks.with.tj. You guys can, of course, find AJ on Instagram, Ty87Kicks, and make sure you are tuned in because he will post a lot of content, especially when he's traveling. So you guys already know he'll be on the road very soon in March. And yeah, stay tuned. Listen, we always have more for you guys. We love for you to tune in, rock out with us, and we appreciate you. So as always, take care. We'll see you guys later. Peace.